Ta-da! Hey you guys, I found the button that says go live. Cool. Let me know if the sound's working alright for you. Fingers crossed. Ooh. Give that a little extra turn. Get a bit more mic cable. So we should be on now, I think. Yay! Hey guys. There's me messing with the microphone. Cool. Think everything's set up. Sorry, fiddling with some more stuff. Just make sure that's all good. All good. All good. Excellent. Hey, Mac Mini. Yes, guys. What did I tell you? I told you we were getting Mac Minis. Nobody believed me. So, guys, welcome. Yes, I did see to the end. I did see the PC going back. It made me smile so much. I've really enjoyed today's event. How about you guys? What was everyone's favourite parts? One thing I didn't notice, how are they differentiating between the processors? Is there any difference between it in the Air and the Mini and the MacBook Pro? Or is it a battery thing? Like, is the display better in the MacBook Pro? I feel like it might be. I'm going to pull up the Apple site and see if we've got any information on there as well, because that would be good to know. Let's throw that across here. Newsroom, I'm assuming, yeah, there we go. Next generation of Mac is live on Apple's website, so that's cool. Let's see what information we've got. You guys. No, they're the same. That's what I thought. Cooling, yep. So it can basically run a bit quicker because of the cooling. Yeah, as soon as the Mac Mini arrived, I was like, I predicted this, right? Pro gets a fan, yeah. So the MacBook Air right now has got a fan, so they must be taking that out. Are they putting more battery in it, or is it exactly the same battery? And yeah. Also, what did I say? The RAM is part of the chip. Let's see, actually, can you go apple.com? Let's see, can we go to the product page yet? Mac. Yes, you can. Can we adjust RAM? That's one of the things that everyone has been asking. Let's see. Let's see. What can you choose? They've basically just got one price, right? Select MacBook Air. Storage. Memory. You do get an option on RAM, but it is part of that chip. Cool. So, Be and Chill, hey. How you doing, man? Yeah, so 8 or 16 on the Air at least. Let's just double check if that's the same on the Pro. I'm guessing it probably is. Pro 13-inch. Oh. Even the graphics on the website look much better. Right, let's see. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not going to try and throw stuff over. Yeah, only difference between the Pro and Air is the fan. Yeah, so it's a $200 fan. Seems like a lot. So why are people... I'm not going to buy the Pro. I'm going to put it in a freezer. Right, so... Yeah, they both get 2 Thunderbolt, 4 USB 4 ports. Yeah, select. So what do we get? Yeah, 8 or 16 again, yeah. You can go up to 2 terabytes of storage on the Pro. Backlit keyboard. Do you want to add Final Cut Pro? Yes, and it still costs $300. That's sad. Yeah, touch bar as well. Good point. Yes, I was definitely shocked when the PC guy arrived. But the touch bar. Yeah, absolutely. But the touch bar. The touch bar is epic. Guys, I'm not expecting this many people in the chat, so thank you so much for joining. Really, really appreciate it. I am going to actually get to the chat very, very soon, so if you have got questions, use the hashtag for me. I don't know if I can search on here, but it might help me to find stuff. But yeah, use hashtag #ICaveAnswers. And worst case scenario, if I can't get to everything, what we will do is I will go through the live chat and I will find out any questions that we can throw into tomorrow morning's show, because we're still going to do a normal show tomorrow, which I think will be really cool. But yeah, the slight delay on stuff here. I will obviously watch the show again before then, because I was kind of watching it and trying to tweet and everything else. But so glad you guys are here. Thank you very much. It's now saying we've got 41 people watching, but I feel like there might be more than that. The fan calls the processor, which means the M1 will be faster in the Pro model. I say, yep, that makes a lot of sense, Daniel. Very, very good points. If the fan... Blah, blah, blah. Yep. Pretty sure that the fan could actually make a significant difference in the process. Yeah, I think it will, actually, and I'm really excited to see what the benchmarks look like. We will probably be ordering a MacBook Air here. That will be my wife's MacBook for her uni stuff, which... I think it's going to be cool. I don't know if we need to go up. It's $200 to upgrade the RAM, I think, from 8 to 16 on everything. Let's have a look. Yeah, $200 for the upgrade on the RAM. To be completely honest, having seen how iPads perform with 8 gigs, I think we're going to be fine with with 6 gigs at the moment, right? I think we're going to be fine with 8 for beginners, at least. I'm really interested to see. I did think we were going to get a bigger price cut for the Mac Mini, but nobody else was even saying we were getting a Mac Mini, so I'm just super pleased with the fact that we predicted that one. What's up with the base Air only having a 7 GPU core? Right, Jan does everything D. I think the issue with that is they're probably going to be binning stuff in the same way that they were doing with the iPad Pros. So the A14, the A12X processor was a lower bin version of the A14Z, essentially. So the A14X was basically a version of the A14X chip that basically only had 7 working cores. So I think that's what they're doing, is basically they're putting the lower graded chips into the MacBook Airs, and then they're going to save the higher performance ones for the MacBook Pros, which will have the cooling that can actually take advantage of them. So A12Z was the better binned version of the A12X, which had all of those cores that worked, if that makes sense. I think that's what you're probably trying to point me to. I was kind of stumbling on the names of the chips there a little bit. No difference between the MacBook Pro and the Air other than the touch bar. Is there anything different? Yes. iCave answers, it's got a fan on it. That is the difference. So it's got active cooling instead of passive cooling. But depending on how they're doing the passive cooling on the MacBook Air, it might not make that much of a difference. That is something that we will only be able to know once we actually see it in action. So, it depends. If they're using the whole chassis as like a passive cooling grill, then it could do okay. Siva, you've been so excited about this wireless charging on the left and right hand sides of the trackpad forever. I know. I think it would be awesome. It's not here yet. As soon as they do a redesign, I think that might well come, because I think MagSafe will be built into the palm rests. Yes. But there's very little that we can kind of predict until we actually start to see some stuff coming through supply chain. Sorry guys, I've got a really itchy nose, so please excuse me when I'm just scratching my nose. It's annoying me. Really wanted a 12-inch MacBook though. Yeah, I know. But basically this 13-inch MacBook is going to be the spiritual successor to it, because they've taken out the fan, which means that you don't need to have the 13-inch particularly. Only a max of 16 gigabytes of RAM, because that's all you need, Joseph. That's why. For the stuff that these processors can run, and for the vast majority of people. Bear in mind, this is the very first generation. There will be higher RAM limits on stuff, but right now, for people that want to get into it first, the pros are probably not going to go for it instantly on the very high end of things. COVID alert, don't touch my face. It's only me. I'm sorry. Hello, wife. Joe, lovely to see you. Thank you. Your MacBook's arriving soon. We need to order that. Sander, hey. So if I understand this correctly, M1 is not just an A14X with a different name. We don't know, because we haven't seen the A14X yet, so it's very difficult to know if it's going to be very different, or if it's going to be basically the same thing with a different name. I did think we were going to see it with the iPad Pros as well, but it didn't arrive, so sorry. What kind of keyboards on the MacBooks, butterfly or scissor? I think they're all scissor because that's what's in the MacBooks at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the MacBook Airs have got scissor switches as well. I will have a quick look now. I really like the look of this MacBook. The Mac Mini. Have you noticed as well they've gone back to silver instead of the grey? I think that's cool. Akshat Garg, I should have a giveaway. What should I give away though? Suggestions in the comments. Right, let's see. Is there anything else here? So yeah, we know that it's the same processor. Yeah, 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU, 6 times faster graphics. This is what we're expecting, to be honest, because we knew that the Iris graphics, the best Iris graphics in Intel, were going to be blown away by A14X. Anyway, this seems to be far beyond that. SSD storage, yeah, obviously very, very fast. 3.4 gigabytes per second on SSD. That's a pretty quick SSD. I have a feeling they must have like parallel smaller chips to get those kinds of speeds, but that is impressive. Let's find out. I think we were looking for the keyboard stuff, weren't we? So that probably won't find that in the Mac Mini section. So the MacBook Pro 13-inch, are you going to tell me anything about the keyboard? Oh, where are we looking? Let's just run down here really quickly. So, 3 mic array, Magic Keyboard, yep. So that's a Magic Keyboard on that one. Let's check on the Air. Does that have the butterfly keyboard? Does anyone know in the... Can't think of any reason why anyone would buy a 10th gen MacBook Pro 13-inch at that price compared to an M1 MacBook Pro. They won't, because they're not offering them anymore. They're not for sale. They've taken the Intel ones off the site already. When you go to the MacBook Air or MacBook Pro pages, all you get is Apple Silicon. You don't get an option for Intel. I don't think they've been sent out early to reviewers, but they definitely had them in the hands of some real people, but I think they were very, very careful with NDAs and stuff. MacBook Air, let's have a look, see if we can find out about the keyboard. Because I have a feeling that might have had butterfly switches. Magic Keyboard. It says Magic Keyboard, so that is the... yeah, it says all new Magic Keyboard. So that is with scissor switches, which is the right thing, I believe. Incorrect, I can still buy Intel MacBooks. Where? They're not on the site that I can find. If I hit buy on MacBook Air, the options that I get are Apple M1, Apple M1. That's it. I can probably get a 16-inch with Intel, but I cannot find on Apple's website the 13-inch with Intel. Ooh, let's go to buy. Let me double check. Where are you finding the... Oh, Mac Mini has still got the option for Intel, right? Okay, let's have a look. Let me see. Buy. Choose your Mac Mini. Yes, they still do a 3 GHz Intel Core i5, and it's $1,100, and it's going to be substantially slower than the Apple Silicon ones, but it's space grey. So, yeah, there's no 13-inch MacBooks that you can buy anymore with Intel. So, fun. On Apple Store, it's on the app, it's under the M1s. I think they might have been an oversight then because they've taken the rest of the stuff off. GB, same FaceTime camera. Yes, I see that, but it looks like they are using the image signal processor to make the graphics look better. It's just that, yeah, they're still using the same sensors from the sounds of things, which is a little bit disappointing because those sensors suck. 13-inch MacBook Pro is still available on Intel. Where? It's not on the website. Not on the website. I'm just looking. MacBook Pro 13-inch. Let me check again. The options for MacBook Pro in 13-inch. M1, M1. Oh yeah, underneath. Yeah, they have put them. Why? And they're still more expensive. Anyone that buys those is a moron. Unless they really, really need, like, boot camp. But, oh. No Space Grey for M1 Mac Mini. No, Dorian, you will have to paint it. I think you can probably afford to. You telling me the Intel MacBook Pro is still more powerful than the M1 MacBook Pro? No, I don't think we are. I think the Intel MacBook Pros are much less powerful. Never been a MacBook Pro 13-inch with 1TB? Probably not. Well, maybe there has. I would have thought there has, but you can have 2TB now. Can you still upgrade the Intel Mac Mini to i7? Let's have a look. I don't know why I'm now everyone's personal shopper. That's a very dull way of using this live stream. But we've got over 100 people on the stream now. That's cool. Nice. Let me see. Boom. Mac Mini. Still don't understand why people would buy the Intel ones. Let's have a look. So it's a Core i5. Or you can go up to a Core i7, and that will cost you an extra $200. And you can take that up to 2TB of storage, which will cost you an extra $600, and you can add 10 gigs Ethernet, which will be another $100. So yeah, you can still spec out an Intel Mac Mini if you want. But let's just analyze some of my predictions. I said we were going to get a Mac Mini. Yes, got that right. I said it was going to be cheaper. Yes. I said that you will not get processor options on these new Mac Apple Silicon stuff. You will get one processor per platform, and in fact we've got one processor across all three platforms, so even more limited than I thought. You are able to spec out RAM, but it is a part of the system on a chip, so you will not be able to upgrade that afterwards. Yeah, just order the base M1 Air and call it a day. That is the plan. Although I will probably be getting a Mac Mini as well, I think, given that it's a little bit cheaper. And actually, let's see, what are the UK prices? Because that matters more to me. And this is my selfish time where I get to have a look for me. So MacBook Air is it $9.99 as well? Yeah, so prices basically translate directly from dollars to pounds, it looks like, which is kind of as expected. Happily, my wife's getting it for uni work, so she gets her student discount. Nice. Mac Mini, I'm guessing it's the same. $6.99, which will be... Oh yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, it's still a price cut. I do think they might make a Mac Mini SE still down the line. That would be nice. The Air is insane value now. Yes, it really is. It's just going to destroy stuff. When will the benchmarks of M1 be out in public? Could be next week. Might be tonight, because we don't know. It could be in some reviewers' hands. Marquez Brownlee has probably had one for the last 3 weeks, and here's what he thinks. That would be a super cool flex for Marquez to bring in. Still think we need to get up from MKBHD to MK 4K, because, you know, HD's a bit old hat. Should I buy a 16-inch Intel-based MacBook Pro? Absolutely not, ever. No. Dhruv Tagiani, don't buy anything with Intel in it anymore from Apple. Unless next week they get into real people's hands and everyone goes, no, this is actually awful. I think the 8 gigs of RAM will be enough for most people. If you are doing heavy music production or massive amounts of video production and stuff, maybe go up to 16. I don't think it's going to make that much difference. Satyam Giri, should we wait for the 2021 MacBook Pro 14-inch? There's no confirmation that there will be one. There's no reason that anyone should think there will be one automatically because someone's rumoured it. Just because the 16-inch went up from a 15-inch doesn't mean that the 13 will just automatically go up to a 14-inch. We might be getting a completely new model. We might be getting some different stuff. Can you upgrade to 16 gigabytes of RAM? Arthur Parika, you can, but you can only do it when you buy it because it's a part of that system on a chip. It is not something that you can upgrade later. Which is better, Air or Pro? They have the same processor now. The Pro is better because it has the touch bar and it has a fan in it, so it will go a little bit quicker because it will be able to keep the temperatures down. but I actually don't see that these processors are likely to get hot enough that they will throttle. Is the M1 Air better performer compared to an Intel $1,700 13-inch MacBook Pro? Almost certainly yes. The Air is probably going to perform better. Was I impressed or underwhelmed? I was super impressed. Is it approximately what I expected? Yes, plus the Mac Mini that I kind of predicted, and then all of the rumours said that we weren't getting it, and then and then it came out, and I was like, oh yeah. Oh, shut up, phones. I don't think you can upgrade to 16 gigabytes yet. Rob, you can. It's on the website. It literally says it when you go to buy it. You just click on it and it's $200. You want the highest memory you can afford because it's used for everything, not just RAM. Well, yeah, I guess so. It is probably a good, worthwhile thing if you're planning to keep it for quite a while, but these will also probably keep their value quite well. So if you want to flip once you get the next version, go for it. Surprised they limit the RAM to 16 gigabytes. I'm wondering if this is enough for people that have opened several tabs on a browser. Just don't use Chrome, it'll be fine. It will be enough because Mac OS Big Sur will be managing it far better than the current operating systems, and also Apple Silicon is going to be running it in different ways. Plus, the SSDs are running at 3.4 gigabytes per second, which is just insane. So it can easily swap stuff into the SSD if it needs to. What's the future for boot camp on M1 chips? There isn't one. You're not having it. Sorry, Omcar. 100 people watching. Yes, Little Mountain Life. Thank you very much. It's very nice. 160 actually right now, which is impressive. The Air will not perform well in sustained CPU usage, so it does not need cooling as the MacBook Pro, which has the cooling for sustained CPU usage. Yep, get that, but an iPad Pro hasn't got cooling built into the CPU either, so how often are you actually hitting those heavy cores hard? Maybe if you're doing a lot of gaming, if you're doing video editing, especially with Final Cut Pro. Like, this was one of the things that really impressed me today. So today's video that I put out this morning was 20 minutes long, full HD, a lot of effects, a lot of graphics, and it rendered in about 4 times real-time speed. It was super quick. It was like a quarter of real-time speed, rather. And this is a 2013 Mac from 2013 iMac with an i5 processor. It does really well because Final Cut is so well optimized, so I don't think you're going to struggle too much. What's the difference between the MacBook Airs? Oh, that's gone. Sorry. David, do you think the glowing white logo would ever make a comeback? The chime is back, though. I don't know if the logo glow will come back. They're more interested in making a Mac that works really well. I don't think that's a massive issue. I would like it because it's cool, but maybe if they put like the Siri lights behind it, that would be even cooler. Love to Dream has just retired. Good. I don't like. I got really bored of his tweets because he was being really cryptic, but stupid cryptic. He'd just put stuff out that you could interpret however you wanted and then claim it if it was right and just say it was a irony if it wasn't. So I didn't hold much weight with Love to Dream. That's fine. iCave, is Mac Mini focused at new developers? It will work great for new developers. It's not necessarily focused on anyone, it's just a desktop, and I am quite tempted. Do you think I should get the Pro or wait for the 14-inch? Guys, I wouldn't worry about waiting for this 14-inch that's magical and nobody actually has any evidence is even being made. So don't worry about that. Get what will work for you right now, and if you need something different down the line, then get something different down the line. Holy crap, we've just got to nearly 300 concurrent viewers. That's pretty impressive. What are we on there? 281. Woo! Your Discord was lit at iCave. My Discord? So I've not been on Discord during this part. My Mac was actually struggling a little bit with the amount of stuff I had going on. So I've had OBS running throughout the whole event, just making sure that it was all going to be cool. But it all seems like everything's working, so that's good. Can I play Roblox and Minecraft on Apple Silicon MacBook Air? If you could play it on an old MacBook, sure, and it will play much nicer. When's the 16-inch coming out? It's already in production by all accounts, according to the guys over at Bloomberg, so it shouldn't be too long. That is to Facundo Pavlovich. How do I think the M1 will compare to the Intel i9? I think it will destroy it. I actually think it's probably already faster. It's very difficult to know because we haven't got benchmarks on either yet. But I'm assuming that what everyone kind of assumed was the A14X is probably this in terms of the benchmarks that came out, because we were just assuming that's what it was. Did you see Vinci Resolve on the MacBook Pro? I didn't notice it specifically. Will pirated softwares not work on the M1 Max? I'm not encouraging this, but it should work exactly the same as it does on Intel Macs, because all it needs to do is go through the Rosetta layer and that will translate it, so it shouldn't make any difference. But don't pirate stuff, guys. Why would you get an Intel Mac anymore? The future is M1 for development and for use. Yeah, I know, Rob. I'm saying that you shouldn't get Intel. I've very much been saying that for the last 4 months, 5 months. How do I think it will compare to the Intel i9? I think I've already covered that. When can we expect a redesigned Intel i9? When can we expect a redesigned 16-inch MacBook with M1? I think it's already in production, but it might be a higher spec processor if it's going into a 16-inch. You were taking screenshots and updating the Discord for you. You guys are awesome. If you guys haven't joined the Discord yet, there are links in the previous videos. Go and join it. We've got like 30 odd people on there already, and we haven't really done anything with it yet. So it's a really cool kind of community starting on there already. What they didn't tell about the Mac Mini, they reduced the number of USB-C ports, and the 10 gig Ethernet option is not available anymore. I think it was available. I think you could still add it. But they've also got Wi-Fi 6 now. So, actually, let's have a quick look. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't mention the 10 gig. Yeah, it says gigabit Ethernet. So, yeah, you're right. That has been pulled out, but that might be something they add later. Maybe this is just the first generation. Maybe this will become that SE that we were talking about. Who knows? Intel processors are hot trash. I think we've all known that, and hot being the operative word there. Gurpreet Singh, hello, how are you? I'm fine. It's quite warm in here. Don't know if that's what you meant. Is any part of the new laptop user upgradable? No. Nope. MacBook Air versus Pro for photographers. Depends how much you do of like batch processing. I think batch processing might hit your CPU harder for longer, so you might get a bit more heat. Also, I believe the Pro has got a better display in terms of colour depth and stuff, but I haven't checked it in too much detail yet. If anyone knows already in the chat, that would be good. Read Vinci in the presentation, they mentioned it. Yeah, I was so busy trying to tweet and everything else. I will, as I say, be watching the event again before the morning. So let's have a quick look at the display stuff. I think they already had a better display. So if it already had a better display in the Pro, then it will have a better display in the new Pro. Yeah, P3 wide color gamut, true tone, blah blah blah, all the usual. Let's double check on the Air. So the display on this one doesn't mention P3. Oh no, wider gamut of colours. I think they have better off-axis colours on the Pros, if I remember correctly. 8 gig RAM enough for a MacBook for a Mac Mini. Yes, depending on what you're doing, it's probably going to be handy to do the rest of it. Schofield Spiff, you are out of here. We're not doing. I don't want spam. Sorry, dude. You are out of here. Cool. Should I get the 16-inch Intel right now or wait for Apple Silicon next year? I would get a 13-inch and flip it when the 16 comes out if that's what you need. But I definitely would not be buying an Intel MacBook right now. I would think as well their I would think their value is going to drop in resale. So if you want a 16-inch MacBook Pro right now, buy a used one. I think some people are going to be selling them. iPad Air right behind you. Whew! Who put that there? Yes. No, it's actually over here. Whoop. Lives over here with me. This is pretty much what I use most of the day, but I love this thing, and got a cool pencil skin. Because I'm a geek like that. Major difference between the Pro and the Air, just the fan, and also the touch bar. I think we've gone through that one. Thotty. Who's Thotty? Missed that one. Sorry, Facundo Pavlovich, can you just repeat whatever that question was, because I missed that one? Daniel Doran, no repairing Apple devices anymore, get insurance as accidental damage, insurance, maybe the new Mac Pro Apple Silicon desktops in future, but doubtful. You will be able to replace parts on those, and you will be able to replace parts on the MacBooks, but you'll have to replace the whole board probably in the same way that you would with an iPhone or anything like that. Gurpreet Singh, how's gaming on the iPad Air 4? Really good. Thomas Rundle, Intel, probably feeling a bit sick now. Yes, I would assume so. Kingpin, seems like just the fan. Yeah, just the fan plus touch bar is the other big thing. And probably a slightly nicer display. Pro worth the extra money over the Air, as they both have the same processor. Depends if you're buying the different one for the processor. Probably not. If you're buying it because you want to have the chunkier battery, the touch bar, and you want to have it's got better microphones and stuff like that as well. There's probably enough value in the difference if you want to use it for kind of everything. For editing 4K on Final Cut Pro, will MacBook Pro 13 16GB 512 be enough? Mike Walters, yes, it will. This Mac that I've got here, yeah, it's got 24 gigs of RAM, but it's also got an old i5 processor in it from 2013, and the whole thing runs on an SSD that's hanging off the back on a USB 3 port, because the internal hard drive is so slow. So yes, you will be absolutely fine with that. Intel processor Macs all be dropping in value as of today. Sold all of mine off last month. That was a good move, Daniel. Waiting for the MacBook Pro 16-inch, Rob. Fair enough, but don't hold your breath. It's probably going to be March. What else have we got? Oh, the chat is speeding up, man. Will gaming be possible on the MacBook Pro? Yes, it already is, and it will be even faster on this. They were already saying it's like 3 times faster in stuff, 5 times faster graphics than it was before. MacBook Air has 2 models with 7-core GPU and an 8-core GPU. Is that cost-cutting? It's not cost-cutting. It's using the processors that didn't necessarily have 100% success rate, so they'll be disabling one of the GPUs to use up those poorer binned processors. It won't make much difference in the real world, to be completely honest. Wanted to buy an iPad 4 for my uni courses, but I'm confused because MacBook Air from 2015 is kind of slow. Should I buy a new MacBook? Herbst Hong, the new MacBooks are ridiculously fast. The MacBook Air 4, the iPad Air 4, this one is also ridiculously fast. It's the same processor as the new iPhones, and it does a very good job. You will have no problems if you want to do uni-type work on it, unless you're doing like a video production degree or something like that. But other than that, you should be absolutely golden. Mac Mini might bench the same as the 10-core Mac Pro, probably. The single-core stuff, all of the Apple Silicon so far has wiped the floor with the Mac Pros on single-core stuff, on like your day-to-days. Obviously, they've got more power in the big stuff. Parallels compatibility, MacBook Pro 16-inch SoC M1X chip, probably. Parallels will run on it because they showed it at WWDC, but they showed it running Linux, they didn't show it running Windows. Windows can run on ARM. Don't know how well the translation layer will work for running x86 Windows in Parallels. That remains to be seen, but I doubt it will be long before someone tries it. What does it mean for Unity 3D and Xcode on iOS App Store? Probably, but not yet. I think that when they do the next event, they will probably introduce new iPad Pros. They will probably bring Final Cut and Logic and stuff like that to the iPads in some form. It probably won't be the full version, but it will be pretty close. Where is the touch sensor on the couch bar? I'm guessing you mean touch bar. There is a separate Touch ID sensor just at the end of the touch bar. Will the MacBook Pro 16 10th Gen get a refresh? No, I don't expect you will see any more Intel Macs from now on. I don't think there will be any more Intel Macs released ever again, because look at the difference in power. Look at the difference in performance that we're going to be getting. We are pushing towards 400 people on this stream, guys. This is awesome. I don't see Apple releasing any more Intel stuff. Like, people now have seen Apple Silicon, which I've been banging on about for months, which I've been banging on about since WWDC, that this is the future, this is what they're going to do. I was shocked, actually, when they refreshed the iMac with the latest Intel chips, but I see why some people needed it, and there was a big gap between WWDC and now, but I don't see why anyone, having watched that event, is going to go to Apple and go, I think I'll have the Intel one. Is there anyone in the chat? And let me know, put in hashtag Intel into the chat if you want. If you think that you would still buy an Intel Mac at this point. Is there anyone that would do that? Right, let's have a quick look. Let's see what else is going on here. Some tumours say that iPad Pro with mini LED display. I think you mean rumours, but that's cool. Yes, iPad Pros with mini LED displays I think will be coming at the next event. Probably with the A14X, probably with 5G in stuff there. But I think it was possibly pushed back because the iPhone demand has been so high with iPhone 12s that they have needed to use pretty much all of the power management chips for those. That's, by all accounts, what's happening. By the way, my iPhone 12 Pro Max is coming on Friday. Woo! Hashtag Intel. You're actually going to you're going to buy one? Why? Hashtag nope. Hashtag nah. Much better. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Intel, maybe because I don't think I can wait for the 16. But why? Why is the bigger display the important thing for you? So, like, I don't know why. Why do you need that 16-inch display? The power is going to be less than you get in the 13-inch right now. That's all I'm saying. I would get a 13-inch and plug it into a monitor. So, do all three new Mac computers have the same power? Yes, technically they have the same processor. There are some lower binned MacBook Airs in there that have got 7 of the 8 GPU cores enabled, which will make almost no difference. It's very much like the difference between the A14X, the A12X and the A12Z. In real world performance, you're not going to notice it. The difference is the active cooling. Which one should I buy, MacBook Pro or MacBook Air? That's going to be the big question that we have to put out tomorrow. It's going to have to be a case of what do you need. If you need the active cooling, if you need to have absolutely every drop of performance that these things can do, go for the Pro. You're also going to get longer battery life. You're going to get the touch bar, and you're going to get a slightly better display. Other than that, you're getting the same computer. It is the same processor. It is the same kind of RAM. What is unified memory? That is a good question. It basically means that instead of having chips of RAM that are soldered onto the board, the memory is a part of the M1 chip. Will Apple M1 really be that good? Yes, it will. So $300 for active cooling, Zebra? No. $300 for a touch bar, active cooling, bigger battery, better display. Hashtag Intel, my only concern is Unity 3D and game development for iOS compatibilities. If you want iOS compatibility, you will only get that with Apple Silicon. You will not get iOS apps that run natively on Intel Macs with Big Sur. That's not something that they can do. Is the Mac Mini actually good now? Yes. The Mac Mini's always been actually good. It's just been kind of pushed to the wayside. I did think they were going to make it actually cheaper than this, but they didn't. But I think Mac Mini SE is something that will definitely come down the road, and I think maybe a MacBook SE might be a thing that comes as well at some point. What is the screen difference between the Pro and the Air? It uses slightly different technologies from memory. It gets better off-axis colors, so when you tilt the screen and when you look at it from the edges, you will see that it's more vibrant on the Pro than on the Air. But other than that, I could actually be wrong on that, but that's my understanding of it. Should we wait for the 16-inch MacBook Pro? No, you shouldn't. You should buy one of these now. Can we expect better graphics memory? It may well have the separate GPU. So we heard talk of an A14T. I do think that under the hood, these M1 processors are basically an A14X, pretty similar. There will be differences in terms of the parts that are needed. Dude, I just bought a MacBook Pro 16 inches. Do you think it would still be usable in 5 years? It'll still be usable. It won't get any worse. It might not get the latest software in 5 years. I think for the next 4 years you will be fine. Why not 32 gigs of RAM? Because they didn't offer it, Flip. Will 16-inch next gen of M1 perhaps M2 next year? No, I think if anything it will be an M1X. Will they be probably the same price as before, $23.99 with M1 would be hard to justify $1,000 for a bigger. No, I think they're going to come down in price a little bit as well. But they will probably get the M1X and they'll probably get discrete graphics that are slightly off board. They sit next to it, I think. Can 2 times SSD speed make up for 8 gigabytes to 16 gigabytes of RAM? It will help because you'll be able to offboard stuff from the RAM into the SSDs if you need to. So it'll be able to basically suspend background apps. Hashtag Intel. Can I be a game developer and still use Unity 3D, Xcode, and App Store? Yes, you can. Yes, because the iPhones and the iPads run the same Apple Silicon as the new Macs. Unity 3D is the only one that I'm not 100% sure on. If it runs on the Mac now, you will be able to run it through Rosetta, but you might not be able to run it natively yet. I don't know how quickly that will come. Right, let's have a look at some more questions, because these are going quite quickly. We are probably going to wrap this up in about 20 minutes, so I'm going to keep going for a while, because this is fun. We have 3,500 views on this stream already. That's crazy. Mac Mini Plus eGPU still work well? No, I don't think you'll be able to use an eGPU with it at all. Apple products are the best? Yes, I probably agree given the nature of my channel. Are developers not getting on board? No, developers are very much getting on board. Congrats, Dave. Thank you very much. Oh my word, I've never seen the comments going this fast. This is crazy. Random gamer, stop pasting the same thing in. You're annoying me. How does M1 compare to Core i7? It destroys it really hard. Apple Pencil. Just the words Apple Pencil. What, do you want to see that mine one again? What? Whew. Yeah, it's cool, right? Right, I'm going to move. Let me just move this live stream over to the other monitor because I think it's closer to my camera if I have it on this side. It might look a bit more natural to you guys. Might not be as over the far side. Right, let's see. This chat is going so fast, it's crazy. I don't even know. Can you do super chats on here? I don't think you can. I don't think I'm. I don't think I'm that cool yet that super chats are a thing. Right, no more boot camp. No more boot camp. Should I wait for 32 gigs of RAM? No, you should just buy what you need right now. Which model am I buying and reviewing? My wife needs a MacBook for her university course. It is going to be basically typing and all the usual stuff, so probably a MacBook Air. Probably the base one, because it'll be fine. She's coming from my old 2011 MacBook Air, so it's going to be quite the upgrade. GPU in unified memory or compared to NVIDIA GPU? Well, NVIDIA's been making GPUs for quite a while, so they're older ones. It'll probably be quite a lot faster. Don't know about the current ones because we haven't seen any benchmarks yet. Mac Mini versus MacBook Pro performance, the same. Basically the same. The Mac Mini potentially might do better because the fan can use more power, I guess. But other than that, don't know. Will we get a 1080p camera? Please answer, please. Krishna Games, please answer, please. I think we're still getting 720p on the MacBooks, but you're going to get the image signal processor from iOS, so it will look better. However, it still looked pretty ropey even on their own live stream. Wasn't super impressed with the image signal processor's work there. Unreal Engine still work with Apple M1. I mean, in theory, but it depends how unfriendly Apple and Epic get. So, I couldn't tell you. Please raid on me. I don't know what that means, techno fans. Is that like Shadow Legends? We're not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Is the SSD speed known yet? Yes, 3.4 gigabits per second. Or gigabytes per second. I can never work out which one's which. Mac Mini versus MacBook Pro performance. I think I've just covered that. The same. iPhone 12, E256 or 512 the best. If you mean storage, the 512 is the best. It's also more expensive. Air 7-core GPU or 8-core. The 7-core is in the base one, the 8-core is in the higher one, and the only reason they said up to 8 cores is because they're using the lower binned processors for the first one. That is the reason, so they're basically reducing that one. Lower nits on the Air display, yeah, probably. Bukachi, that's a scary name. No 16-inch, that's correct. At the moment, they are in production, but they are not ready yet, so probably March time. Unless there's a December event, they might just throw one out a month from now on, who knows. Do you know how big the difference is between the 7-core and the 8-core GPU? Worth $200 price difference? No, because that's not really what you're paying for there. And also, probably not anyway. What's the difference between MacBook Air and Pro? Cooling. Cooling. Random games. Random gamer. It's cooling. It's cooling. It's cooling. It's how they call it. But also, you've got the touch bar, and you've got the bigger battery, and you've got a slightly nicer display. That's it. Random games, I've answered it. You have to wait now. Cool. What is better in MacBook Pro 13 than the Air? That's literally what I've just said. I know that this is slightly delayed, so I'm not ripping on anyone, but I'm just covering the fact that I've said it. 500 nits, 400 nits on the Air. Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. Am I living on my iPad? I was, and now I'm in the iCave because I talk about a lot of stuff that is not iPads. But yes, I was living on iPad. If anyone's confused, that was what the channel was called up until like last weekend. MacBook Pro 13-inch, two models are pretty much the same. Yeah. I'm awesome. I know, Kingpin, thanks. And I answered your question properly today. Do I think the move to M1 chips will see a yearly update like the A series chips? I absolutely do. I think that's the main thing. So the biggest reason that Apple has moved over to their own silicon from the MacBook from Intel is basically they want to be able to update on their own schedule, know when everything's happening. I pretty much guarantee you that the M1 cores are A14 cores. It's just that they've rearranged them slightly and they've got different numbers of them and maybe running at different clock speeds. We don't know the clock speeds and stuff yet. I don't think it was in the thing, but yeah. Which Intel chip is M1 comparable to? I think it's the i9 9900. Is it something like that? But it's basically what the most expensive MacBook Pro that you could buy, the most expensive 16-inch MacBook Pro, is about on a par with the now cheapest MacBook Air. That's pretty much what we're talking about here. That's the kind of difference. But yeah, the big reason that Apple has moved over to this is Intel couldn't keep up in terms of performance per watt. They were saying this is literally 3 times the performance per watt that they were getting previously. I have got to deliver a drink for my young child who is on the outside of the room. I just had a note passed under to me. There is a fridge in the iCave. So I'm not going far, guys. Dropped it. There we go. Cool. The joys of life. Cool. So, I'm back. Right. The M3 chip is 3 times faster than an Intel Atom from 2008. No, it's a lot faster than that. I can edit 4K with the new MacBook Pro in Final Cut. Will it handle it better than the MacBook Pro 16-inch? Yes, absolutely. David, thanks for the after party. You're very welcome, guys. This has been an absolute pleasure, by the way. I get so little stick from you guys. And anyone that gives me trolly comments, you get pinned in my videos. Just so you know. Right, what else have we got here? It's moving super quick, so I'm gonna have to just try my best to keep up with these. Can I edit 4K on the new MacBook Pro with Final Cut? Will it handle it better than the Pro 16-inch? Yes, it absolutely will. It's just a better system. Air thermals, will it be good? Yes, it will be good enough. Because these chips don't get anywhere near as hot, especially when they are doing simple tasks, when they're in the general operating system, when you're web browsing and stuff, they're using the lower powered chips. That's the whole point, is that they just don't use the power and don't put so much force through. So, Manjo S, what happened to A14X? Well, I think that A14X is basically what's under the hood of the M1 in a slightly different configuration. So that's what's happened to it. I think it will still be on the way, and that will be when we get the iPads. But they're just calling it something different for the Macs. But we will see if that actually holds true as soon as they get into people's actual hands. Right, let's see. Does Air have P3 wide colour gamut like the Pro? Yes, it does, Zebra. I had to check, but yes, it does. It's just a slightly dimmer display. It's 400 nits instead of 500. Recently ordered the 13-inch MacBook Pro that was released in May, 2 weeks ago. Should I cancel it and get the new one, or hold on for the one that I've got? Cancel it. Cancel it. Cancel it. Cancel it. You want the new one rather than the Intel. Will the MacBook Air base... Oh, what just disappeared then? Will the MacBook Air base model work for casual video editing on Premiere Pro? Yes, but I would recommend, rather than using Premiere, to use Final Cut. It's so much more optimized for Apple stuff. It makes a massive difference. As I said earlier, my Intel, this is an old Intel 2013 Mac iMac that I'm using here. It's an i5, and it absolutely chugs through my videos, absolutely no problem still, because I use Final Cut. If I was using Adobe Premiere, it would be sluggish. It's too old. But now to put it on there, you have no problems. Hi Dave, I'm a student that also does 1080p video editing. What MacBook should I choose? It doesn't matter. Any of the new Apple Silicon ones will be absolutely fine. I would probably go for the Air. If you're doing casual stuff, if you're not going over the top, the Air will be able to do 3 streams of ProRes at 4K, which is what they were showing off with the developer transition kit. So I don't think you will have any problems at all with any kind of 1080p editing on these. M1 8-core CPU, 4 very high performance cores, 4 high efficiency cores, 8-core GPU. Base model MacBook Air has a 7-core, 16-core neural processing unit. Yes. Tato, thank you. I really appreciate you answering some questions for me in there. There's a lot of questions coming in there. We have got, right now, 488 people on the stream, which is fabulous. I really, really appreciate every single one of you being here. Really, really like it. I just saw something about, is iOS compatible? Let me see what was being asked. All iOS apps compatible. So, all iOS apps are compatible, but the developers can switch off that compatibility. So, for example, we mentioned in today's main video that we put out every day at 12 UTC with daily Apple news, just for anyone that's joined the stream that doesn't normally watch the channel. So Facebook and Google, I don't know if it's all Google apps, but certainly YouTube does not allow you to use the iPad app on your Mac, which is really annoying. The same with Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that is not going to be compatible directly to the Mac straight away. Don't know if that is because they want to optimize it, or my actual theory is because the stuff that they were doing with iOS privacy earlier in the year and sandboxing the apps. Basically, if you track people outside of the app that they're using, it will put up a warning on the screen, basically. And Facebook and YouTube both make a lot of their money through advertising, and that would be a massive issue for them. Whereas if they do it through Safari and through Chrome especially, then they've got a lot more leeway with what they're able to do. So I think that's the main reason that some of the apps will not be there, especially advertising heavy stuff. But yes, otherwise, In terms of actual compatibility, yeah, pretty much everything can run on the Mac that runs on iOS or iPhone, or iPad, sorry. Why only 2 ports? Because that's how many there are space for. Also, how many ports are you putting stuff in? This is DeAndre Williams. So, with a notebook, how many things are you plugging into it when you're out and about working? If you're at home, buy yourself a little hub, and then you'll have one cable that you plug into it when you sit down. I don't see why notebooks should have a stupid amount of ports on them. I had the MacBook Air 2011, so this is not a new thing, but it had 2 USB ports and a Thunderbolt port. That's it, and a MagSafe. So I think you'll be fine. Yeah, some more people asking about Pros only having 2 ports because it's a small one, and generally it's for use on the go, so you don't really want loads of stuff hanging off of it. That's my honest opinion, that I wouldn't have thought so. Bro, is it worth trading in a 2016 MacBook Pro 15-inch for the new 13-inch Apple Silicon 100% Aman Dugal? Yes, you should. That is very much a good decision for you to make. Especially if you can sell it for enough to buy one of these things. The performance will be startling compared to a 5-year-old computer. According to Apple, the new M1 comparison is based on testing conducted using pre-production 13-inch MacBook Pro using the M1 chip, as well as a production 1.7 GHz quad-core Intel i7-based 13-inch. So it's comparing it to an i7. 1.7 GHz quad-core is pretty much a kind of standard i7, I guess, and then it will boost up to higher than that. But yeah, cool. Any ideas why there's a hard cap on 16 gigabytes of RAM? Better memory utilization in the M1? Pretty sure that will be it. The other reason is probably that they are... I mean, it might be that they're actually reserving some of those higher memory caps for the 16-inch model when they update that, or for Mac Pros or iMacs. Don't know, it might be that the graphics in those needs it more, but I also think that the memory management will be far better than people expect. Just like with the iPhone 12 Pro versus the Samsung Note 20 Ultra, is it? Their top end one. The iPhone 12 beat it hands down in the real world testing, even though it's got half the amount of RAM. So I would not worry about it. Right, let's see what else have we got. I deserve more subs. Well, thank you. As long as you have subbed, that is your job done. If anyone in the chat hasn't subbed, you are dead to me unless you sub now. And if you ring the notification bell, then let me know in the comments section of this, not in the live chat, and I will give you a shout out in the next video. That is how it works for joining the notification squad. Let's see, what else have we got? Whoa. You gained a lot of subs in just a matter of minutes. When? I haven't even looked. Oh, let's see. Studio. Holy crap, you're right. We've just jumped about 50 subs. That's quite nice. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. But yeah, we have got a lot of people on the live stream. We peaked at 511 people, which is very, very nice. And we've had 6,000 playbacks nearly on the stream, which is great. So a lot of people are jumping in and out, but we are kind of saying the same thing over and over again a little bit. I completely accept that, but it's because we've got new people coming into the chat and they haven't, they don't know what we've already been talking about, and that's absolutely fine. I will try my best to not repeat ourselves too much, certainly not too quickly. Few minutes and it's painfully obvious you are an Apple shill. Ah, thanks, man. I absolutely am. But sadly they're not paying me yet. Lego Vlogger, what do you think? What do I expect me to say? What's going on? What's going on? Please answer. I feel like I'm spamming. I'm trying to find what you've got. What have you said? What have you said? Gonna cry, laugh my ass off in my country. MacBook Air is $1,500. What should I do? Well, to be honest, here it's like it's £1,000, which is $1,300. Where are you, Lego Vlogger? I can only assume Denmark. Let me know. I am trying to catch up with everyone's questions. Sorry if I'm missing them. I really am trying. Yeah, it's an Apple channel, you moron. Yeah. I mean, if you couldn't tell from the I at the beginning of the name, I mean that's your biggest clue. My favourite part was the PC dude by far. Yes, that was awesome. Kingpin, are you a CS student? What does CS stand for? Please tell. I don't know what we're talking about here. Apple is comparing to a 2019 MacBook Pro with 2 Thunderbolt. Yeah, that's fine. Appreciate it, guys. Helping to 3,000 subs. Oh, man. Thank you. Remember, guys, we have as well got the Discord, which is a thing now. You can go and find it in the previous videos. There is a link in all of them that should work. If it doesn't, let me know and I will fix it. MacBook Air versus Pro for coding. Well, they were talking about the Pro for coding, but I don't see, like, how hard does coding actually hit the CPUs? I can't imagine it's that much, and it's surely not for, like, extended periods of time, right? So the Air should be absolutely fine. It might take slightly longer for coding, but I don't imagine it would. What else have we got? MacBook Pro 16-inch MacBook Pro 5500 or 6500 GPU. Well, the 5600, sorry. 5600 is probably a little bit faster. Computer science. Okay, cool. Tato, thanks. Gotcha. That does make sense. New M1 13-inch or base 16-inch. M1 13-inch for days. Like, if you haven't quite got this from the stream yet, don't buy anything with Intel in it anymore. That's their stock, because that is going to fall through the floor after this. That is, in fact, let's have a look. I wonder if Intel has already taken a hit. And I don't really care about stocks, but Intel Corporation is down. Oh, it's not a good day for them. It's not a good day. Yeah, they're down a bit. Down a bit. Not massively, but down a bit. Let's see if Apple is up. They're up today. Yeah, Apple is up, Intel is down. Not surprising. Right, back to the fun stuff, because nobody cares about stocks. I certainly don't. Airfon from the Cultcast, he cares. Why is no 16GB choice for MacBook Air in my country? Why? I don't know. Yip. Where are you? I'm sure it will be happening. Sun Forever really wanted a MacBook Pro 16-inch. It's going to come. You just have to be patient. They can't release them all on the same day. They only have so many factory slaves. Not factory slaves. Apple is actually really good with their workers from the sounds of things. And they've just suspended one of their suppliers for not being nice to their workers. So, you know, there's only so many people that are building Macs. Sorry, refresh the voice. Apologies if you've got drinking sounds then. Just bought a 16-inch refurb MacBook Pro 16-inch because I can't wait. Well, sucks to be you. Do both MacBooks use the latest butterfly keyboards? No, they don't use butterfly keyboards at all. They use scissor switches, which is what we all wanted. It's the magic keyboard. So it's the better ones. We had to check this earlier. Just got the 2020 MacBook Air. Should I try to go for the Silicon MacBook Air? Yes, if you can. If you got it recently enough that you can return it, I would do that and switch out. If you didn't buy it that long ago, there might be some people still looking to buy one, and you might not take much of a hit on it. But the new one will perform far better. 13-inch MacBook Pro. Oh, what did I miss there? Something just skipped around. The chat is going super fast, guys, so apologies if I missed stuff. Is there a major difference between the MacBook Air and a MacBook Pro? Yes. Cooling, touch bar, battery size, screen quality. Can it outperform the latest i9 processor? Yes, it looks like it can. Is the camera still a potato? Yes, but it's a potato that's got far better processing on the back end of it. Will the M1 in the MacBook Pro be clocked higher than in the MacBook Air? No. It's the same processor, it's clocked the same way. The base MacBook Air has got one less enabled GPU core, so it's got 7 instead of 8, probably because it's not binned as well. It's not the perfect chips coming out. Is the fan worth paying the same as... Is the fan worth paying for the same M1 CPU? It's not just the fan, you've also got the touch bar, you've also got the bigger battery, you've also got the better screen. Kind of weird how they removed the fan and just put an aluminium in its place. That would be a heat sink. That's why basically the processor can dump more heat into aluminium than it can dump into the air. That is what they've done there, I would guess. Yeah, you could have put in a bigger battery, but then you've got to re-engineer your battery and your charging, and there's a lot of work that goes into it rather than just, oh, I put an extra battery in. I need high performance for 3D and render. Will I buy this MacBook Pro 13-inch or wait for the 16? You should have plenty of performance there for 3D and render, I would think, in the 13-inch, but obviously I've not used it yet, so I can't really tell you in a real-world way. Third-party software like Reason, will this work smoothly? Reason is the audio thing, right? Should work absolutely fine. Don't know if it's been optimized yet. Best thing to do would actually be to contact Reason directly and see if they've already optimized for it, or if you would be running through Rosetta 2. If you're running through Rosetta, it takes a little bit of a performance hit, but it will still perform probably better than the Intel versions can run it because of the extra power that you've got under the hood. 13-inch MacBook Pro M1 only up to 16 gigabytes would be better than the 16-inch 64 gigabytes. And what about graphics card difference? Jenny, you are probably gonna be. It really depends on what you're doing. 64 gigabytes will not make it faster if you're not using all that RAM anyway. It will actually hit your battery and it will take a little bit of performance off the processor. If you're doing a graphics card difference, I don't know what the higher end 16-inch graphics cards do. Certainly in terms of the processor performance, it is faster. It's really going to be something where we need to wait until it's in some people's hands and they test it on like heavy duty stress tests, and then we'll see exactly what the RAM issue is. They might be using SSD as a RAM disk to extend it, I don't know, but that's where we are right now. Daniel Dorian, my bad, I've been asking for like 20 minutes and I didn't see it, so I resorted to spamming. Yeah, random game, I did answer it once at least. But maybe you missed it because you were spamming. Diego Rios, 13-inch 1700 MacBook Pro versus the new 1299 MacBook Pro plus 8 gigs of RAM. Yeah, the new one is going to be faster. I genuinely don't know why the Intel ones are still on there. The only possible reason to buy an Intel one is you need Boot Camp, and you can't live without Boot Camp. Should I return my latest MacBook Air? Only 2 weeks. Is that gone? Where's it gone? Should I return my new MacBook Air and get this one? I would, if you can. Zhang Yi. Absolutely, yes. From Daniel, yes, I agree. It seems that both the Air and Pro has the same display on the website, Retina display with True Tone. Yes, the difference is the brightness is 400 nits on the Air and 500 nits on the Pro. So if that matters to you, then go for that one. I also think the off-axis, like the angled colours look better probably on the Pro from memory, but don't quote me on that one. I think they just use a high quality panel, but it's the same resolution, and they've both got True Tone. Because to be honest, the True Tone is not built into the display, it's built into the ambient light sensor that senses what the temperature of the colour is, and then the software deals with that. Around when will the redesign for the 14-inch MacBook Pro happen? Asking for school purposes. Why does that 1-inch make a difference for you for school? And also, why do you think it's happening? It's only a rumour. This is not something that's been seen in the supply chain. It's not something that Apple has confirmed. It's not something that is necessarily going to be happening at all. They might even just take the 13-inch frame, put a 14-inch into it, and change the frame completely. It could be going to a completely new design language. We don't know. I would anticipate, though, that the next generation of MacBook Pros will probably have Apple's new design language that looks a lot more like the iPad Pros, so it will be flatter and squarer edges and things like that, rather than the kind of curves that they have at the moment. So I wouldn't hold on for a 14-inch, because I really don't think it will make that much difference to you. I think everyone thinks it will make a big difference. This is the brand new 13-inch MacBook Pro. It's not going to change very much very soon. Right, let's get to the current chat again. Not enough RAM for the price of a USB Mini A for the price of a mini USB A. Not quite sure what you're asking, Live Track. Try me again. Which M1 laptop setup offers the best bang for the buck for the average user? The Air. Absolutely the Air. In what circumstances will the MacBook Air get hot if you are doing constant stuff that hits the CPU for probably 5 or 10 minutes or more? I don't think you will have too many problems at all, but I think you'll be fine in most cases, unless you're doing like heavy duty video editing for days. And I mean, by heavy duty, I mean like multiple streams of 4K ProRes or 6K or 8K ProRes. I don't think you will have any problems really with 4K. You would definitely not have any problems with 1080p. Which, to be honest, most people are still watching in 1080p because most video that goes, especially onto YouTube and stuff, is watched on a phone. How's the gaming performance? Don't know, never tried it yet. It's literally just been announced, we haven't seen it. Should you wait for 32 gigabytes? No, get on with it. Should you buy i3 2029? If you mean an i3 anything, like a Mac Mini, definitely not. No. The fan cools the processor, so less throttling on high speeds. Daniel, yes, thank you very much. You are doing well in the chat for me. Appreciate it, my friend. Oh, what was our bet, by the way? I can't quite remember. You will have to remind me. Do I owe you a shout-out? You've had a lot in this episode anyway. No one here understands the Intel rules do not apply to ARM. You don't need as much RAM. Yeah, I know. So I think I've been trying to explain this for, I don't know, about 5 months. Yeah, I've been saying in every video that I've been doing, i3 with fan or M1 Air. Oh, 100% M1 Air. Like, never Intel ever again. Hands down, Yusuf. Do not buy an Intel one. The fan will make no difference because that i3 processor is just an absolute piece of garbage. Not buying Pro. Okay, fine. But yeah, you don't need the fan on an Air. It's not going to make that much difference. Will the Air overheat? No, because these processors are using like a quarter of the electricity, a quarter of the power that the Intels were drawing, so you're not going to have any problems with overheating. 8 versus 16 gigabytes RAM, Dave. The 16 gigabytes is about twice as much as 8. Hopefully that clears it up for you. It's $200 for the $200 for the upgrade. It is probably going to be useful if you are doing a lot of stuff at the same time. But 8 gigabytes will work. Wait a week if you're not sure. Yusuf, yes, I'm sure. 100% I'm sure. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. You should definitely not buy an Intel MacBook Air. They are pieces of garbage. They were in the first place. Now they're a really good buy. Do I think the MacBook Air will overheat? No, I don't, K. Francis. Anyone that's asking me, will any of these overheat? No, they won't. What might happen is under sustained loads of sort of very, very high CPU usage or GPU usage for extended periods, like when you run a benchmark, it might start to just teeter off a bit towards the end after like 20 minutes. In the real world, it's going to make very little difference to anyone. If you are 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes Mac Mini, okay, the answer for all of these is going to be the same. Which is best for college, MacBook Air or MacBook Pro? Depends what you're doing at college. Be a little bit more specific so I can help you. But in general, the MacBook Air for 90% of people is probably the right choice. How much RAM for working in Lightroom, raw processing as an amateur, and a few Safari tabs in parallel? You should be absolutely fine with 8 gigs, I would think. However, we don't know how Big Sur handles RAM yet. If you are not sure how it's going to work, then I would say just hold on until some people have got hands on it in the real world, and then once we have some real world data, then make your decision. But I really don't think that anyone is going to have any problems with bumping into RAM limits at the beginning with what you can do on the screen. If you are running 3 displays like I do, you might need a bit more RAM. If you're running, do you know what I mean? If you've got that many apps open, not because of the displays, but the fact that you've got enough apps to cover 3 displays, and all the stuff that I do. But to be fair, I am running here on 24 gigs on... Right, what have we got running? I'll just let you know exactly what I'm running here. And this is on Intel, which handles RAM far worse than Apple Silicon will. I have open at the minute Finder, the Twitter app, Chrome and Safari, and Mail, and Messages, and Notes, and Photoshop has been running all the way through this for no real reason. And Final Cut Pro is still running in the background, and QuickTime, and OBS Studio, and Stocks. And right now we are using 10 gigs of RAM. So if you run all of those things at the same time, you might just about bump up against that 8 gig limit, just to give you an idea. So I would not worry too much. Also CPUs are running at about 50% at the minute, because I am streaming live via an iPhone that's up there through OBS Studio, and then through, obviously I've got all of Chrome and everything running, and there's videos running in the background on Twitter, and yeah, got Chrome up there. Don't know why I've actually got Safari going at the minute, but we have, so I'm not going to change anything right now in case I destroy the stream. But we've now been going for an hour and 15 minutes. This is longer than I expected, guys. I am going to start to wrap it up. So if you have any questions that I haven't managed to get to in the live chat, I have been doing my very best, I promise you. Every single one of you, I promise I've been trying. If I haven't got to your questions, throw them in the live chat now, and if I don't get to them, please drop them into the comments section. I would love to have some comments down there with hashtag #iCaveAnswers, and I will address every single question in tomorrow's show. We might go rapid fire. I might answer a lot of people's questions at the same time, but I will give you all a shout out. I will mention everyone's name that has asked that question. I will tabulate it, and they will all get answered on tomorrow's show. It goes live at 12 UTC tomorrow, which is 12 GMT, basically London time. So if you've got questions that I haven't answered, please throw them into the comments section so that I can get to them, or tweet me and use hashtag #iCaveAnswers on Twitter. My Twitter handle, which I've just changed, so I will double check it to make sure that I get it right myself, is at @iCave_David. So you can do either of those things, but make sure you @ me on Twitter, and we will give plenty of shout outs in tomorrow's show. I'm going to run through some of the questions that are in the live chat now, but if I have missed you, I do apologise. I am trying to get to as many as I can, but I genuinely didn't think we would have where did we kind of peak? Around about 510, 512 people on this stream, which absolutely blew me away, and I appreciate every single one of you. So let's run down what have we got in the chat now. Mohammed, Air or Pro? I wonder if anyone's asked that before. Air will be fine for 90% of people. Pro, if you definitely will be hitting that CPU and the GPU hard, and you want the touch bar and stuff. Nikolaj Shvedja, I think is how you say that. Thanks for clarifying. Have a nice day to Daniel. Daniel Doran has been an absolute star in this live stream, and I'm very impressed. iOS development, Mac Mini, MacBook Pro, or MacBook Air. Sheldon Gray. Cool name, Sheldon. I think I would probably go for a Mac Mini, because if I was a developer, I would want to sit at a desk with lots of screens. So that's what I would go for, and also you can hang some SSDs off the back of it and expand your storage for less than the Apple prices, which is probably a good deal. When will it come out in other stores than the Apple website? Well, right now, I don't know if any of you guys are aware, but there has been a bit of a pandemic going on, so a lot of stores are closed anyway, but it should be out, I think, next week in stores, as long as they've got enough stock to actually supply. I know they've produced 2.5 million laptops that are likely to be here by February, but I don't know how many of those are here now and how quickly they will get into the supply chain. So I think if you want one, I would probably go for it fairly quickly. I think shipping times will probably slip a little bit. The chime is back. Didn't know it was gone. Yeah, it went with some of the latest MacBooks and people hated it. But yeah, it's back and it starts up instantly. And you should really find someone that looks at you the way that Craig Federighi looks at a laptop. Because he has so much love in his eyes. MacBook Pro 16-inch or M1 Surajit Daz. M1. If anyone asks me a question that says X Intel chip or M1, I'm going to say M1 all day long. Hey guys, if you've enjoyed this, drop a like and a subscribe if you're new. Oh, Tato, you guys are my cheerleaders. I love it so much. Thank you so much. Prosnajit Saha, I'm going to say. I'm terrible at names, but I'm trying my best. Where did you go? Oh, where's it gone? It was there. It was there. It was gone. Sorry, dude. Drop your question in the comments if you need to. I did think I was going to catch you then. Great stream. Thank you so much. How much RAM for coding for college? If you're worried, go for the 16 gigs. It's not a massive jump up in price, but bear in mind that whatever you buy, you will not be able to upgrade down the line. Is the MacBook Air still 13-inch? Yes, it is. Shang-E. I'm assuming that's how you say it. YXNG? I have no idea how I would say that. But Kyung-E. MacBook Air is still 13-inch, yes. Geekbench 5 of an unreleased Mac with A14 benched on higher single multi-core or... Blah, 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 blah. Yes, we think that is probably that chip, because we didn't know that it was an A14X. That was the assumption that was made because it was a very powerful instruction set based chip. So it is probably that one with the 7220 score on Geekbench 5 versus the Core i9 MacBook Pro 16-inch, which got 6850 something, I think, from memory. Yes, Geekbench, Arian, I think we just mentioned that. Yeah, so it's this same thing going in there. One more question. Will the i3 Intel price get cheaper after M1? They're not selling it anymore. It's gone from the website. You can probably pick some up in aftermarket. If you pay more than like $400 for it, I think you are crazy. Shangy, yeah, done that one already. You've asked it a few times. That's fine. How much RAM for coding purposes? Yeah, we did that one. Okay, I'm getting back into it now. Here we go. Vinicius Pasha, can you talk a little bit more about Unity Editor with M1? I can't because I don't know anything about it, unfortunately. But if it ran on Intel Macs, it will run on Apple Silicon Macs, even if that's through Rosetta for now, because the extra horsepower that it's got, it will probably perform better on Apple Silicon with Rosetta than it performed on the Intel Macs before. Nothing with MacBook Pro 16-inch. Looks strange. No, not yet, but they will come. Don't worry. What was happening here was they were introducing the one chip. The fact that they didn't include it, I think, probably means that the MacBook Pro 16-inch may well get a more powerful chip. Or it will have an additional GPU core or something like that. Or an additional GPU segment that is way more powerful. I think that will also be more expensive, but I would not hold off for it. I would get what you need now, and if you need to, move it on, because there is going to be... The secondary market for Macs is always awesome anyway. 8GB versus 16GB for the Pro, and why? Greg Alexandrovsky. Close, maybe? You would use the 16 gigs if you are doing super intensive stuff, if you are doing, like, very multi-threaded music production, I think, is one of the biggest ones actually for RAM. Music production, like very complex graphics work. If you're doing like super heavy duty graphics work, I guess many layers is more the thing than anything else, because basically what you're trying to do is keep all of that graphics into the RAM so that you can work on it quicker. Hopefully that vaguely answers your question, but we still don't know how Apple Silicon is going to handle the memory. It was probably going to be a lot better, and I think most people will find that 8GB is plenty for day-to-day. For an average user, i.e. multiple tabs of YouTube, websites, would the M1 Air be better than the Pro, or do I buy the Pro even though I won't use the extra potential based on my workload? I would be quite happy going for the Air. That's what we are going to be buying straight off, I think. I don't think there's going to be any kind of throttling with it. I think you're going to be absolutely fine. But if you want to have that extra headroom and probably have a bit more longevity with it, maybe, you will, like, the Pro will not be a bad buy. When will it come out in other stores other than the Apple website? I think we've covered that one, hopefully next week. DC, will 8GB of RAM in the Mac Mini be enough for 2 4K displays and 8 charts, stock charts? I would probably, if you're doing that much with stocks, I would probably plump down the extra $200 and get the 16GB version. Like, it will probably be enough, but why take the risk? If you're doing stocks, you're probably doing okay. How much RAM for coding purposes for college? As much as you can afford, but I wouldn't be too worried if you get 8. Is the heatsink connected to the fan in the Air 2020? Absolutely not. There is no fan in the 2020 Air. Doesn't need it. Do you know what he means by running through Rosetta? Okay, running through Rosetta is basically Rosetta. Just in case Daniel hasn't already answered this, because he's doing a superb job. Rosetta is the translation layer that Apple has built to go between Apple Silicon Macs and old Intel-based code. So it basically translates it at the point of installation or at just in time if it needs to, and basically makes everything run okay. Stephen, what you said, yeah, your call, you cover that one. Let's see what else we got. I'm trying my very best to keep this going. Right, I think we're going to wrap it up in about 5 minutes, okay? So 1.5 hours, which is probably plenty. 6X GPU would translate to which Intel MacBook Pro model. I'm not super familiar with all of the NVIDIA cards that go into the Intel MacBooks, but it's 6 times faster than the internal, like, Intel Iris graphics, the best ones. I believe they based it all on the 13-inch 1.7 gigahertz i7. Can you see the MacBook Air overheating with no fan? Really don't think it will. It's not going to be that hot. Worst case scenario, it'll throttle a little bit, but when was the last time you saw an iPad throttle? I don't think you ever have. What's a good deal, MacBook Pro or MacBook Air? Yes, both. Cyber Explore, that's for you. Take over my aviation. So disappointed they didn't release a 16-inch. It will come, but they can't release everything on the same day. They wanted to release everything with that processor, I think, today, and then we will probably get the M1X or the M1T or whatever other variants are to come with some of the others, because you're probably going to get more power in the 16-inch, probably comparable to what you'll get in an iMac. Yes, please answer, will it run Windows 10 Boot Camp? Answer is no, Yusuf, it will not. There is no Boot Camp. Boot Camp is gone. I can't boot to Windows 10. No, you can't. Can you do coding on Air 2020? Yes. Craig explains Rosetta 2 in the WWDC keynote. Yep, absolutely. Coding on the 2020. Yeah, right. I think we're getting to the end of it now. Right. Can you do coding on the Air 2020? Yes, you can. You can. You can. You can code on any Mac. That's correct. What will be different is the speed of compiling your code. Explain why I should not get a spec'd out Intel 16-inch MacBook Pro, because the 13-inch cheaper one will be faster than it. That's why. It will perform better, it will cost you less money, and it will last longer. Any other questions with that? Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up, guys. How many screens can the Air support? I don't know. It's probably going to be 1 external display, maybe 2, but that remains to be seen. I don't think they've mentioned it. I will do some digging. And any more questions, guys, if I haven't answered it yet, I'm now not going to. So please post them up in the comments below this video. Thank you all so much for being here. I've really enjoyed doing this stream. 512 gigabytes or 1 terabyte. Depends how much storage you need, dude. If you need a terabyte, get a terabyte. I'm the man. Thank you so much. Cool. That's the end of this stream, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. I really, really enjoyed it. If you've not subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. Notification Squad If you do ring the bell, let me know, Notification Squad, in the comments, and I will give you a shout out in the next one. I have a feeling that is going to be a long section of the next video, but we'll be back at 12 UTC tomorrow. Thank you to Tato and Daniel Dorian. Yes, 100%. Both of you guys have been absolute troopers in the comments. Thank you so much. I have the best audience in the world, and I'm absolutely grateful for it. So thank you so much, guys. Tato, 26Ks. What? 26Ks on the Air? Really? Amazing. Cool. I definitely need to watch this event again and do some research. Cool. See you tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much. See you back in the eye cave. Warm. How do I stop the stream? That's not cool if you don't end the stream at the right time.